We're here with Reb Nachman, who his foremost position is that he's the Republican Party district leader, District 48, which encompasses Borough Park and Flatbush. Borough Park and Flatbush, one could reasonably argue, is the largest from community in the world outside of Yerushalayim. And it's pivotal that the people who live in this district, that their voices be heard through their voting. Nachman, you have endorsed...
I have endorsed Donald Trump. It's very important for our community and for the country to make sure that Donald Trump is elected as the President of the United States of America.
You're a known figure over here. You ran for public office before. Well, just something about your personal life. Who is Reb Nachman?
Well, as the literature has said, I've been in Borough Park for 30 years, and I really, in the last few years, I've looked around in Borough Park and Flatbush, and I've seen our way of life, poverty, and people don't have jobs, and I've taken to myself, and especially housing, which everybody knows is my signature issue, to bring affordable housing to the community. And it's my task. I'm going to try to raise the economics in the community so everybody should be able to work and raise a family. And for that, I thought that the way to do it is by seeking out the political people to make sure that they help us in this effort.
Your solutions for the problems of the community is by joining the Republican Party and become a leader. Is that the way forward for our community?
The answer is that we're all Republicans. When the elections roll around, we're going to give an 85% vote to the Republican candidate, whoever it may be. Unfortunately, we're registered Democrats, but I guess in this election, the Republican voters, which we have 9,000 in our community, will determine the presidential election, which I'll explain soon. It's the first time that our Republican voters in our 48th district have the ability to influence the presidential election of the United States of America.
A very small part of the Frum voters in Borough Park and Flatbush are registered Republicans. And now the election with Trump, do you think that the few Frum voters are going to determine who the next president of the United States?
Yes, that's the answer. No one understands it, and that's why I'm here as a Republican district leader to explain it. The way the process has run, Donald Trump is probably 90% chance of winning with his delegates now. If he wins New York, the way the delegates work, if he gets more than 50%, he may end up with 85 delegates, which is the chunk, and that would probably give him momentum, and he would go all the way and win the election. To get that 85 delegates, he must win more than 50% of the New York State vote and more than 50% of each district. Let's assume that in my election maybe 3,000 Republican voters came out. I hope in this election we'll have 5,000 Republican voters. We actually have 9,000, but let's assume we can get 5,000.
Conservatively speaking.
Conservatively, we'll assume that we have 5,000 Republican voters. Since it's only a Republican race, it doesn't make a difference what, we're very minority, but in the Republican race, if we bring out the 5,000 voters, an 80% vote for Donald Trump, that will give him both the district delegates, and it will give him maybe the state delegates, and he will have 85 delegates, which will bring him to the nomination. So our vote in this little town can bring him the election. So
in New York State is also on the Republican side a winner take all?
No, the way New York works is there's I think 95. I have to check 95 votes. There's 27 district times 3, so which is 3 times 27 is 81, and the rest are at large. The large delegates are based on the popular vote, which is the total vote in the state, and if it's over 50%, winner take all. And each district works as follows: if the winner doesn't have 40%, he gets 2 delegates. If he has 50%, he gets 3 delegates. So it's very important. So every district is on its own, and 80-48 seems to be in play. I mean, even the New York Times said that this is a battleground state. You see everybody coming here, and I guess if we win 80-48, they will show that that the Orthodox community is behind Donald Trump.
The candidate has amassed such a strong opposition, even among Jews, among conservative Jews. Are those who oppose Trump? Are they mistaken, and what is their mistake?
Well, let me give you a total perspective on the way we should be looking at this election. I've learned the liquid for 12 years. I have smicha. I actually have Yodin from the Chakra Rav. So
that means, to say in English, you have a right to be
a
judge, a rabbinical judge in torts law.
Yes.
Right. Okay, just to explain for those who will be viewing this.
It's a pasuk in Jeremiah, Perik Chavtes.
Jeremiah 29.
Jeremiah 29, pasuk Dalet. It starts
Verse
off.
4.
Verse 4. Koyim Hashem tzavokos l'kei Yisrael. I won't translate everything, but just what's necessary. Because God tells the Jews that went to exile at the Babel, the new batim, build houses, build gardens, stay there. You're going to be settled down in Babylon for a while. But what should you do? That you should seek the welfare of the city what you are. So if as we're living in exile, we have to pray and do everything in the world that the city that we live on should thrive. The Spali Bada should pray for them. Because if they're welfare, if they're prosperous, we will be prosperous. So we have to realize here in America that we are in exile. We basically, our job, our thing is to make sure we have to do what's best for America. And therefore, as I'll explain, that Donald Trump is best for America. I understand, which will go into why people are against him. His personality may not be the best, but he will shake up America. The problem with America is that if the government wouldn't be around, it would be 5 times as large. I was at the Republican Gala convention on Thursday in the Hyatt Hotel, which he built, of course, and it was so nice. The way he made a beautiful speech was, he knocked it out of the park. Basically, he told the audience, you people are not interested in politics. That's boring. So he recited all his accomplishments, what he did. He built Trump Tower, he built hotels, and he gave the story, the famous story with the Central Park skating rink, the Walman rink. There was 7 years, it was lying fallow. He was his memory is amazing. I mean, I can tell you that. He was able to tell you how many pipes were running through there. So he gave the story that before he came in, they had copper pipes, and there's 400 people sitting there eating lunch every time. And every night they would have to redo them because they would steal the pipes. So that's how the city ran the show. He went over to the mayor at that point. He said, "I'm going to do it for you right away for $2 million." He didn't want to do it, and he went overcome. He went to the newspapers. I think went to the Daily News, New York Times, and he put the pressure on. And Mayor Koch agreed to let him do it. So he changed everything. He went up. I think when the city was doing it, they were getting people from Miami to do the rink. He went back to the Montreal Canadiens. He got someone with rubber piping, and he did it under a year for $2 million. So Donald Trump will bring the same kind of deal to the United States of America. He'll go into the regulations, he'll go to the taxes, and cut off all the impediments that stop you from working. I'm a lawyer. I know what's going on. I mean, I can't get anything done. There's so much red tape. So we know for sure that Donald Trump comes in, America's GDP will go up 6% a year. He's a builder, and he'll be able to do that. And with prosperity, if it's prosperity in Washington, everybody's building, we all have jobs. Now there's no jobs. Whatever job it is, it's a government job, half-time. There's not a real job, not a well-paying job. All the jobs are running out of the country. He's going to regenerate jobs. So therefore, we have to accept Donald Trump the way he is and let him go out and do it. let me just explain to you why I think he's like that. I mean, I actually listened to him on his session on Thursday with the media that presented our interest. It was very nice. It was very thoughtful. He talked about, and not only that, he's Amar Mashallah Shama Lashemati. He said what he doesn't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I was there.
He was there. Brandon was there. So he's very down to earth. You know, he's going to come in. What he doesn't know, it's a lot of things he doesn't know. He's not a politician. He hasn't made positions, but he's real good. I mean, he understands what America should be. He's here to make America great again. I mean, he's not fully politically correct. That's why he comes out like that. Why he maybe doesn't talk nice about people. Donald Trump runs a big major organization. He has people working for him. I don't think anybody in his office would ever say something against him.
A lot of people, when they see Mr. Trump going after the Mexicans and the illegals, and maybe his arguments are correct or not correct, but it kind of scares people. Who's next on the firing line? And I hear from people, what would you tell people who are scared with this kind of approach?
I think that this attitude against these people, I'm sure he has hired illegal aliens.
Well,
sure.
that's what the media says.
I know that. So I think it's all a ploy. I think it's only to rouse his base. I think it's not. I can tell you, he's not going to have a wall. There's not going to be a wall, and it's basically.
Are you saying this officially or just you feel?
No, I have no knowledge, but from seeing the way he is, he's not going to build a wall. He'll build houses, he'll build construction, hotels. He won't build walls. So, and
in your opinion, it's just a lot of bluster, pleasing those who hate Mexicans. But that in itself is
I don't know.
Might be a problem.
I'm not sure. The answer is I'm not sure, but I'm not very worried. I mean, his son-in-law is a Jewish, Orthodox Jewish. His daughter became a convert, and she said that her father encouraged it. So I don't think we have anything to worry about him. And besides, I do not think that will be his focus. His complete focus will be economy.
He's kind of proud of his daughter.
He is. He's proud of his daughter. She's actually sits in his office and runs his business.
He's asked about Israel. He always defers to his advisors. So we have to. At least, do you think we have to know who his advisors will be on foreign policy? You don't need international experts, people who have many years of experience, but we're not aware who is on his team.
Let me tell you what I think is happening. He does not have a team. I mean, it seems to be, when it was asked a question of Israel, he deferred to Jason Greenblatt, who was a lawyer in his office, who was an Orthodox Jew, and he told you a story how accommodating is them, and he works yontif 3 days a week, 3 days gone, and he accommodated them. So really, I think the answer is his position has not developed. He assured everybody that that Israel is dear to his heart. He will support them. He will definitely not put pressure on them. So I think what Israel needs now, I don't think they need military help. I think they need someone to get off their back and to knock out ISIS and to knock out terrorism, which he will do, and protect them from Iran. Everything else really doesn't matter that much. I mean, Israel doesn't need American troops to come in and help them. I mean, I think that's the other way around now.
When he will assemble his team, they will be pro-Israel security sufficiently.
Yeah, I do believe. I think that the polls in Israel think that Donald Trump is the most pro-Israel candidate of all, which is probably true. But he's not going out to go to war. I mean, he's not someone that's going to send troops.
But all the candidates, they're trying to ingratiate themselves to the Jewish community. So what is your opinion about Mr. Cruz and Mr. Kasich coming to the matzah bakeries to show off their fealty, their love of the Jewish people?
I do trust them. I do believe they're true to the Jewish people, and I believe that all the candidates are true to the Jewish people except for Bernie Sanders. I think everybody else is, maybe Hillary, we can't trust. But I think they truly good to the people. But the difference is we are trying to elect the president that will restore prosperity to America and who will not, will also be good to Israel. So that's why Donald Trump gets the nod.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want at least our community to know about joining the Republican Party? There isn't a large registration in this neighborhood for the Republicans, as you have mentioned. Do you think it's time for a mass conversion?
Well, I think that.
And how could that be made?
Well, the answer is, I mean, you got to show, especially in this election, maybe this will show it that the Republican vote mattered. I don't know exactly when it'll matter, and hopefully it'll matter down the road. But if we get more Republicans in there, maybe in some of the elections it will matter. So I don't know. And besides, the fact that Republicans are joining, it'll just the atmosphere in the country, in the nation, will show that we are at heart we're all Republicans. We know that. It's just that tactically we're registered as Democrats.
Some elected officials in upstate New York who have taken quite a hostile attitude towards the community in KJ and the community in Muncie, New York. Do you think it will affect the way Orthodox Jews look at the Republican Party in New York State?
Why do you think that has to do with the Republican Party? The Democratic Party in those states would do the same thing. I think it's just they feel threatened. I don't think it's a Republican reaction. It's a reaction by the people living there and the natives there. I don't think
And
it has to do
so
with
they're appealing to those who oppose Orthodox growth and nothing to do with
It has nothing to do with being Republican. I don't think that matters. You see that in state senate, they're much more like us much better, do much more for us than the Democrats. So the Democrats stopped the education tax credit. The Republicans are for it. So I think that in their minds, the Republicans are more akin to Orthodox Judaism. I have a novel idea which I think will make a tremendous difference. I mean, hopefully, if Donald Trump becomes the president, so hopefully we will be able to get aid directly from the federal government without the state getting involved. You know, he'll direct the funds towards all schools, and not only that. I've always argued that a lot of New York State and a lot of states have the Blaine Amendment, which basically restricts aid to schools. I believe that that Blaine Amendment in New York State is unconstitutional. What if I'm able to get the Justice Department to file a lawsuit against the Blaine Amendment to eliminate that would be something.
Mashiach times.
Yeah, that would be Mashiach times.
Because the Blaine Amendment has been the major obstacle for aid to yeshivas.
But I believe the Blaine Amendment is unconstitutional, and if someone would take it to the Supreme Court, especially the Justice Department.
For those who don't know, the Blaine Amendment was introduced in many states to fight the Catholic Church. At that time, the Protestants in America were afraid of the Irish and of the Catholic influence in the United States, so they passed the Blaine Amendment to block the growth of the Catholic Church. So you think it could be argued that it's unconstitutional?
Yeah, I believe, no, I definitely argue. I know that I've looked at it. It definitely puts impediments on religion, and definitely, if someone would bring it, you know, with enough money, and especially if the Justice Department would bring such a lawsuit, it would probably win.
To fight the state
to fight the state on the state constitution.
As a matter of fact, he responded to the Hamodia questioner, he responded to his question that he supports.
He supports that.
Educational
equality,
vouchers.
Vouchers, yeah. So let me give you an argument that you really realize that if Ted Cruz ever gets elected, he has a flat tax. A flat tax basically makes everybody equal. A flat tax there are no deductions for charitable contributions. So watch what happens. And he also wants the government to be out of education. He's closing up the education department. We will not get a dime from the government, and we will not only not get a dime. Our donors will not be able to give charity because they won't get a child deduction. It's a complete disaster.
Flat tax will also take away the mortgage deduction.
Yeah, the mortgage deduction and the property tax, which New York needs. I mean, flat tax is good in Texas, where he comes from, not in New York. Of course, he doesn't care about New York values, we know that.
So you think Ted Cruz's ideas will hurt the Orthodox community?
It definitely hurts him very badly.
What about Kasich?
Kasich is the old-time Republican. Yeah, he should be okay.
But he has no chance.
He has no chance, and he doesn't deserve a chance. He didn't. He only has like 100. Has very few delegates.
That's a show.
Why she takes someone that has. My prediction is that if Trump gets 1,100 candidates, he'll win on the first round. And he can't deny someone with 1,100. 1,100
Well, you need
candidates.
1,237.
Right, but he has the popular vote, and he was only, as he said, the process is rigged. I agree with that.
Yeah, the process-
Hopefully, when I'm going to be a
So
delegate.
if he loses in the first round and then in the second or the third, do you think Trump will walk away a person who thinks that the ball game is unfair? He'll take the ball and the bat home, and that no more game.
Hopefully I'll be a delegate. I'm looking forward to be a delegate. I've tried to put my entire Brooklyn delegation together. We'll stick together and we'll be very active in Cleveland. I look forward.
So even after the second round, you
Yeah,
stick
but
with
we're
him.
still pushing for Trump. Yeah.
As long as he's in,
as
running,
long as he has a chance, we're gonna.
you're not going to do a second round.
No second round. I'm for Trump.
Even though
forever.
your obligation is
It's gone. Yeah,
is gone, you're still gonna.
I had no obligation to do. I had no obligation to do this
So
campaign.
one thing we could say, we could assume that Nachman Kaller is a loyal person.
Right, that's correct.
Okay, that's a nice note to end the conversation.
Yeah. But everybody should go out and vote. But from as a Republican district leader, I'm directing my appeal to the Republican voters of AD 48 to show that AD 48 is coming out strongly for Donald Trump. And again, and I thank Rabbi Yoina for giving me the chance to explain my position, and I hope everybody understands it.
Thank you.